going on, everybody? Um, Fuck, how am I gonna start this video? Um, I guess basically, what I wanted to come on here and say, um, well, I have a lot to cover actually. How do I- So, I've been hearing a lot about steroids lately, especially in the NBA right now. I'm watching a lot of shit on YouTube. A lot of people that I'm subscribed to, like Bruce Blitz, and a couple other people. Um, Obviously there's been a couple reports, well not reports, but like allegations that LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are linked to steroids, which I personally don't know is true. I don't think anyone does really know if it's true or not. It's just an alleged. So basically, it's kind of prompted me to make a video about steroids in professional sports. So basically, I'm going to cover the NBA, the NFL, and the MLB. I really like basketball and football the most. I really don't follow baseball that much. I don't really talk about it on my channel, but I'm definitely going to talk about it because it's worth talking about. Um, you know, so why don't why don't I just start out by explaining what my whole take is on steroids in professional sports? Um, Basically, I personally wish it was a level playing field for everybody, but we all know that that's not the case. It hasn't been the case for a long time. As much as people thought that it was, it never really was. I think steroids have kind of been shielded and have kind of gone under the radar for a long time. I personally think steroids have been around since I would go back to say the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, obviously. And people didn't want to believe that like the top tier players of their sport, or even the players that they didn't expect to be on steroids were on steroids. Now, obviously, people wouldn't target the top supposed top players of the sport, such as guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, football you could name. Um, I don't know, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Adrian Peterson, um, J.J. Watt, RG3, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Ray Rice, Frank Gore. I'm kind of just saying off random names. I mean, I'm not saying they take steroids, but I'm just saying that the players that are at the top of their sport for each sport. In baseball, I mean, I actually have a whole list that I'm going to go through for steroids for everyone that took steroids in baseball, or at least that we know of. I'm sure we're not going to know every single person, but you guys get what I'm saying. So obviously that's what people want. That's what the public wants is a level playing field, which I can say for most people. I know some people would say, well, have them take steroids, but do it in like, a doctor's, I don't know, have like a doctor control it or some shit like that, or do it in, increments or whatever. But I mean, I would say for the most part, people want a level playing field, just to make things fair and to not make, the one person better than the next, just make it, even and level. And as much as I would love to see that, I just don't see that happening. Um, you know, Clearly steroids have been around for a long time. I think they're part of professional sports. I think they always have been. I just don't think people have realized it. I know when the whole was it report that came out for baseball, people were like, oh my God, they had Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. Um, you know, that's just to name a few. I mean, I have the whole list, which I'm going to go over with you guys. But I mean, I don't think people realize that guys in professional sports and baseball and basketball and football, and other various sports take steroids to be better than the next person. They take steroids because they want to be the best. They want to stand out. They want to be at the top of the game, top of the sport. They want to win all the MVPs, win all the championships, go to all-star games, whatever. You know, and the common misconception with steroids is, oh, they make you big, you just get jacked, your arms get big, your legs get huge, your chest is bigger, and that I mean, I'm not saying I'm a steroid expert, but I know from, you know, people that I knew that took steroids in high school, because I did play sports in high school. I played basketball, I played football, I played baseball, I played everything. So I had friends that took steroids that did not make you jacked. There are certain types of steroids out there that are built for endurance, for recovery, um, for quickness, for speed. I know guys in the NBA, and I know everyone's gonna be like, no, they don't take it in the NBA. It's how could they do that? It's just it doesn't make sense. Steroids make you big, blah blah blah. It's no, no. The NBA is a perfect example. I mean, no one can prove that anyone is not taking steroids, because with the NBA, I mean, their whole steroid program and their whole way that it's structured is a fucking joke, and it has been a joke for a while. And when players started to get caught, like recently, like Hedo Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis, O.J. Mayo, that's just a name off a few, you know, and David Stern's been saying since I think the lockout that, oh yeah, well, we're gonna fix the whole steroid program. We're gonna make it more better, advanced. You know, we're gonna start, blah blah blah. But he's been saying that since the deadline. So I don't, not the deadline, I'm the lockout. So I don't think that's gonna happen. Obviously, I mean the NBA probably has the worst steroid program in professional sports. I think in order to, really catch guys, do blood tests, urine tests. I mean, that's the only way, and do it at random. Kind of like how baseball does it. But I mean, for us to really sit here and say that, people in the NBA don't take steroids, I mean, come on. I mean, with an 82 game schedule, I mean, obviously they're going to take it for recovery, to recover faster, with the long, grueling season, night in and night out, obviously for endurance, for speed, for strength to a certain degree, because guys want to be strong in the post, going to the basket, whatever, and, they want to be fast and they want to be, all these things, to be better than the next guy, to have more, to have a better advantage. And the NBA is just honestly ridiculous with that. I mean, I think it just sucks for the NBA. So I might as well just go into the list with you guys. So let's see. Actually, I'm gonna read this. What is it? This report. That it's from 2011. It's something that Derrick Rose said about how people have problems with steroids in the NBA. So I'm just gonna read it, and I'll leave all the links in the description for you guys, so you guys don't think I'm talking out of my ass. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. Derrick Rose, the NBA's most valuable player and star point guard of the Chicago Bulls, recently said that basketball has a huge steroid problem. Rose, whose team is currently in the NBA playoffs, also called for a more level playing field in his sport. And they're obviously talking about 2011 and the playoffs against the Miami Heat. Um, Rose was asked the following question by ESPN the magazine: if one equals what are PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, and 10 equals everybody juicing, how big of an issue is illegal enhancing in your sport? In response, Rose said, 7 is huge, and I think we need a level playing field where nobody has that advantage over the next person. The point guard's bold declaration comes in direct contrast with a 2005 statement by NBA Commissioner David Stern during the height of scrutiny into the steroid issue that year. That's not a problem at the present time that we think we have, Stern told ESPN. LeBron James, star of the Bulls' playoff opponent Miami Heat, agreed with Stern in a 2005 Maximum interview when asked about steroids in basketball. James responded, "It's something that's not done." James explained, "It's something in the NBA that hasn't been done. No one's going to start. I wouldn't expect to see anyone taking steroids in the game of basketball. That would be kind of crazy." Really? Unlike the MLB and the NFL, the NBA has not had to enforce its steroid policy. Even often, Darius Miles, Rashard Lewis, and O.J. Mayo were suspended under the policy in recent years, which calls for a 10-game suspension after the first offense. In the NBA's history, none of the players even caught taking steroids could be considered star players. Rose's declaration comes only weeks after he became the youngest player in league history to win the league's MVP award. Rose is currently facing the biggest challenge in his young career as his playoff series against the Miami Heat is currently tied 1-1. Game 3 tip off later tonight. Probably didn't need to say all that for the last part of it. So clearly, LeBron seems to think that steroids aren't in the NBA. It's pretty clear that Rose disagrees, which I think is true. And David Stearns is talking out of his ass, saying that it's not an issue at the present time. So, oh my God, like just after reading that, just really blows my mind. But I mean, let's just really think about this for a second. If the NBA and David Stern really found out that a maximum amount of players, say star players, were taking steroids, do you really think that they are gonna suspend them for like 50, 60 games? I mean, how much would that destroy the NBA? I mean, their ratings would go down, their star players wouldn't be on television, people wouldn't go to the games. So obviously, the NBA is not going to tell people, um, if certain players are on steroids. I mean, obviously, they'll do the players that aren't really, household names like O.J. Mayo, Darius Miles, Rashard Lewis, um, Hedo Turkoglu. What about guys like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, all those guys, just to name a few. And the only reason that it got blown up in baseball was because the government got involved, and that's why all those players, all the lists, all that shit got blown up, and people really found out that everyone was juicing in baseball. So I might as well get. I'm gonna. I'll go back to the. Well, that's pretty much all I think about really with the NBA. I think it's a bullshit. Um, for what they have for their steroid program. I think they need blood tests and urine samples. I think that's really the only way that they're gonna see who does that, and then you do it at random. But I don't think that's going to happen with the NBA, in my personal opinion. I don't think they're ever going to do that. But we might as well go into baseball, and then I'll talk about football after that. So, all right, this is a big fucking name of list of players, and these are obviously all the players that they got, and who are alleged. Obviously, they didn't probably get everyone in this report. But this is list of players linked to steroid and or human growth hormone. So I'll just go to the first column, which is implicated players, and these are all the players that I think came out not too long ago. So I'm just gonna read them off. Mark McGuire, Manny Alexander, Chuck Finley, Barry Bonds, Marvin Bernard, Randy Villard, Wilson Alvarez, Brett Boone, Ozzie Canseco, Juan Gonzalez, Dave Martinez, Ivan Rodriguez, Tony Sanders, Miguel Tejada, Lenny Dykstra, David Hollins, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, Brian Roberts, Jay Gibbons, Gary Matthews Jr., Jerry Hairston Jr., Darren Holmes, Rick Ankiel, Troy Gloss, Scott Schooner, Weeze, can't say his name, Matt Williams, Jose Guillen, Ismael Valdez, Maglio Ordonez, Alex Rodriguez, Mike Piazza, Todd Green, Sammy Sosa, and David Ortiz. Others: Jamel Sledge, Derek Turnbow, Rico Brogna, and David Bell. Um, I'm going to say the admitted users who actually came clean to it. Um, Ken Committee, Bobby Estella, Jason Giambi, Jeremy Giambi, Armando Rios, Benito Santiago, Gary Sheffield, Jose Canseco, Tom House, Wally Joner, Jim Letritz, Paxton Crawford, David Sugia, John Rocker, Paul Beard, and Shane Monahan. Sorry I can't pronounce some of these names. They're all like fucking Hispanic. Let's go to MLB suspensions. Alex Sanchez, Jorge Pedro, Augustine Montero, Jamal Strong, Juan Racon, Rafael Betancourt, Rafael Palmeiro, Ryan Franklin, Mike Morse, Carlos Almazar, Felix Sandaria, Matt Lawton, Yuzaki Irinki, Jason Crimsley, Jermio Mana, Juan Salas, Ryan Jor- Jorgensen, Dan Cervini, Alenzo Alfonso, Humberto Cotto, Henry Owens, J.C. Romero, Ser- Sergio Mitri, Kevin Pichardo, Manny Ramirez, Edison Volquez, and Ronnie Polona. Holy fuck, I suck at reading. These are all fucking weird ass names. Um, let's see, what else we got here? Um, let's do the Mitchell report, and that'll be the last because this is 47 fucking names. Um, Ricky Bones, Alex Cabrera, Larry Bigby, Jack Cuss, Tim Lakeler, Ton Hundley, Hale Morris, Mark Karen, Matt Franco, Rondell White, Chuck Kabach, Greg Zahn, David Justice, FP Santiago, Glenn Allen Hale, Mo Vaughn, Danny Nagil, Ron Vallon, Chris Donalds, Todd Williams, Flathead, Todd Pratt, Kevin Young, Mike Lansing, Cody McKay, Kent Merker, Adam Piot, Jason Christensen, Mike Stanton, Stephen Randolph, Paula Duca, Adam Riggs, Bart Badich, Fernando Vian, Kevin Brown, Eric Gagne, Mike Bell, Matt Hurds, Gary Bennett Jr., Jim Picard, Brendan Donnelly, Chad Allen, Jeff Williams, Howie Clark, and Nook Logan. Um, and that's just all the names they found. Sorry, that was a big fucking list. Holy shit. Um, but anyways, I just wanted to say all those names just to kind of explain to you guys how bad it was in baseball and how um, that it changed a lot of things. Because I would probably say at least 70 to 80% for baseball um, take steroids today and still did back then, probably between 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I mean, I think that they haven't. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than what it was. Um, Obviously, the only disappointing thing that I was upset with that no one was inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, which is just just goes to show. I mean how much of an effect that steroids has had on baseball. To not have one single fucking person inducted in the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm not sitting here saying everybody that was a Hall of Fame inductee this year took steroids, but I would say probably mostly all of them did. Um, but I mean, that is awful that I have no one inducted in the Hall of Fame for baseball this year. I thought that was, kind of sad. But I mean, baseball's done, a way better job than most sports have, as far as steroids go. Um, so I mean, I think they've done a better job, but I still think there's a lot of players out there that they have not been able to catch. Have been, obviously, um, Alex Rodriguez, I believe, was alleged of taking steroids again. Um, I don't know too much about that. I know that I think he was alleged of taking it last year, but he still sucked last year anyway. So um, that's all I have to say about that. I think baseball's done the best out of all the sports. So now I'm going to talk about, let's see, football. Now football to me is, let's see, football has been, I think, a little bit better. I think Roger Goodell has done an okay job at this. I don't think it's been great, but I'm going to read off a name of players, which isn't really a lot, which goes to show that it's not really that good. But subs, I'm just going to say them. Suspensions for violating the substance policy. And this is dating back to, I think, 1998, I believe, is when the first suspension came out. So, and the last one was in 2000, see, 2012. Yeah, so 98 to 2012. So that's not really that long. Um, so, say the names: Bob Sapp, Jim Miller, Ray Buchanan, Todd Sauerbrunn, Shane Rogers, Sean Merriman, Hollis Thomas, Chris Henry, Ryan Tucker, Chris Henry. I didn't say that twice. It's two different players at wide receiver and running back. Luke Pettigout, Tenard Jackson, David Vibora, Luke Lawton, Brian Cushing, Gerald McGrath, Adale White, Leroy Hill, Sean Nelson, Tenard Jackson, Santonio Holmes, Kerry Williams, Philip Buchanan, Kevin Williams, Will Smith, David Reed, Brett Hartman, Mike Lasore, Brody Eldridge, Nate Collins, Tampa Haley, Tenard Jackson, Joe Hayden, Clark Haggins, Akib Talib, Eric Wright, Brandon Bolden, Jermaine Cunningham, which we all know about, that came on this year in November, not too long ago, and Brandon Browner. So I mean, the NFL, to me, is a prime example. Um, I think they would do the same thing the NBA would do. I think if some of their star players, if they knew they were taking steroids, they wouldn't tell anyone. They would let it slide. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, the NFL does. I mean, I think they do an okay job. I mean, they've done a better job recently, but I don't think it's a good enough job. I think steroids are always going to be um, in football. And I think steroids are always going to be a part of sports, guys. I would love a level playing field, but for baseball, basketball, and football to all be a level playing field, it's just not going to happen. Um, I mean, it's just a part of sports. I mean, it starts out, in my opinion, in high school, because I saw it in high school when I played sports. I didn't really see it so much in basketball because basketball is kind of different at a high school level. Um, but definitely for baseball and football, I saw a lot of friends I knew, well, not really friends, it's just people I knew that took, HGH, and, a lot of other different anabolic steroids, just to be faster, stronger, more athletic, to, recover from injuries. So I mean, to me at least, it starts at a high school level. I mean, the college level I think is probably worse um, than it's ever been. I think college is a prime example of where it pretty much starts for most people. Um, I think at college there are more and more players every day taking steroids, because they want to get drafted. They want to prove to NFL scouts they can play at the NFL level. And I know some players just have the raw talent too, but some guys want to be better. Some guys want to be the best, and they want to be, the top draft pick to get all that money. To be at the top of the sport, be the face of the franchise, whatever. I mean, so it's probably worse for in college than it is in high school, but to me, it starts out in high school because I saw, a lot of it. And then when you get to the top, to the professional level of sports, the MLB, NBA, NFL, then it becomes who's better than the next person, who's going to be the best for that year, who's going to be the best for 10 years, so guys want to leave their mark, guys want to win MVPs, win championships, and they want people to remember them. Now it's funny, like, guys like Ray Lewis, with the whole deer antler spray during the Super Bowl weekend, which I thought was complete bullshit. And I think that um, we're going to find out in a couple of years from now that Ray Lewis was taking steroids. And I know a lot of you, oh no, Ray Lewis doesn't take steroids. He's always big. I mean, a fucking tricep injury. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone else from that injury did not recover as fast as Ray Lewis did. And for deer antler spray, really, I mean, I don't think the NFL wanted to say he was taking steroids during the Super Bowl weekend. I think that would have ruined the Super Bowl weekend. I mean, I think people would have been more pissed off if the NFL came out and said something about it. So we may hear something in a couple of years, but Ray Lewis may come out and say it. I don't really know. Um, but I definitely feel like Ray Lewis did take steroids. It's my opinion. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with that. But I mean, for us to really say that he didn't take steroids, or anyone else in sports doesn't take steroids, you know, just because we can't prove it doesn't mean that we can really sit here and say that we don't know that anyone else is taking steroids in professional sports. I mean, I'm sure we would be shocked. I mean, at least from baseball's perspective, of how many players are taking steroids now in baseball that haven't been caught yet. Players in the NFL or in basketball, you know, I mean, can we honestly sit here and say that Michael Jordan didn't take steroids? I mean, do we really know that? No, we don't. I mean, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, you know, that Michael Jordan took steroids, and I'm not, trying to sound, trying to shit on Jordan, because, I think Jordan's the best player to ever play, and I have a lot of respect for Jordan. But again, we don't know if Michael Jordan did ever take steroids. So, and we may never know. But don't be caught off guard by the common misconception that steroids make you big. There are tons of steroids out there that are that have nothing to do with making you ginormous. Um, and That's all I really have to say about the whole steroids in sports. I kind of covered a lot. Kind of gave my thoughts on it. I wish it was a level playing field, guys. I really do, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think steroids are part of the professional sports culture. I think they have been for a long time. But let me know what you guys think about steroids in baseball and football and basketball. Um, but don't honestly tell me that they're on steroids in the NBA because that's complete bullshit. And I think most people know that there are. Um, I mean, I think that there's steroids in all sports. That's my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. That's all I really got to say. Subscribe to the channel, leave comments, like the video, share it, and I'll talk to you guys next time. All right, I'm out. Peace.